Right. Good evening.
Okay.
Evening and welcome to the Academia Bessarion19. And tonight we have with us Professor Carlo Illuminati, Porcari da Calgary, da Roma, da Ukraine. I will expect him to explain the situation as an introduction and then launch into this account of this magnificent manuscript of the Commedia with most splendid illuminations which match his name, Illuminati. Good evening, Professor, and welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for your introduction. Your words were too kind in my direction. Now, I would like to tell you that I'm involved in several ways with illuminated manuscript of the Divine Comedy. Say from 6 years, I am in the scientific committee for the publishing of very refined facsimile of the most illustrious manuscript of the Divine Comedy. One of the most illustrious one is this Paris-Imola Codex. You see two topics now. The unfortunate codex, which is the argument of my talk, of my today talk, and the astonishing, or better to say, the enlightening illuminations, which will be the argument of the next, if you want, if you will be not upset by my talk, my today talk, we will have another talk in next days when you want.
Thank you.
Now, that's the subtitle, and I must govern the topic in order to make clear why I'm speaking about this unfortunate, why it was so unfortunate, this codex. What was the codex itself? The Paris-Imola is a Lombard parchment manuscript composed before the middle of the 15th century for Filippo Maria Visconti, Duke of Milan, who died in 1447, was the last Duke of this family, Visconti. It consists of the text of the Inferno Cantica. As you know, the Divine Comedy has 3 canticas, okay? And of course, Inferno is the first one. So there is the text written by Dante himself. Second, there is an Italian commentary, especially written by the humanist, the Lombard humanist, Guiniforte Barzizza. Okay, thank you. Third, there were at least 100 miniatures. I mean, I can prove by arguments that at least were in the original artifact were at least 100 illuminations, which is an extraordinary total for a single cantica. Now, today, only 72 survive, 3 of which are badly mutilated. I hope that my English is enough clear.
Fine, yes.
So the first topic is split in two. First, the damages. Second, the adventures or the misadventures. You will understand why. Which are these manuscript damages? First, losses. Which is losses? It means that an entire folio has been lost. We don't know why. Better to say, honestly to say, I never handled the original in the Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris, the National Library in Paris. I haven't been there. Of course, I have good images of all the manuscripts, but I haven't had the original in my hands. And I cannot tell you why many pages were lost. So let us see some examples. As you see in the corner, high corner in the right, you have the number 1. Can you recognize this number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the present actual first page, but in fact is not the original first folio of the manuscript. Let me say that folio means 2 pages, the front of the recto page and the verso in Latin, the rear page. It's okay. So when you lost, as usual, even in a book, you cannot lose only 1 page. You will lose, say, so to speak, a folio. So 2 pages. Am I clear? This survived first page, I repeat, was not the original first page. Is a letter written by the humanist to the Duke himself in Latin. And this one is the last survived page. And even this one was not the original last page. More or less, we are here in the last. Am I speaking too loud?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry, because I'm emotionally involved with this manuscript. Got it. So more or less in the last page, in the front page, we are in the rear, okay? We have around 55 or 56 line of the last canto, which has count more or less 145, 144, I don't remember. If you want, I can tell you right now. So we don't have the last page, the original last page. We don't have the original first page. And the first page is a great loss. This is the first page of another manuscript written and made, say, around 50, 60, or 70 years after the Paris Imola. The Paris Imolas must be ended before the middle of the 15th century, as I told you before. So around the 1510 or before was made this manuscript. I mean, not only written, was made, handmade. And even this one is kept in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France with another number. That one is 2017. This one is 1469. And this is the frontispiece. Look the beauty of these white branches. You can, I will give you two details in order that you can better represent. That is the initial letter, is an S. Se noi volemo considerare bene la condizione dell'anima. That's the first line, okay? So I gave you the evidence of how could be beautiful the frontispiece page. Another detail, this is the, I don't know the name in English, I beg your pardon, of the great French sovereign, the great French king, Franciscus I, who were a humanist himself. So look the beauty, isn't it? The liliums, in Italian gigli, in the center. And the two in Italian is salamandra. I don't know the name in English, maybe salamanders. So I gave you the representation of how could be, how is great first page. All the skill of the painter was especially for the first page. But we lost the first page of the Paris Imola. Now a question raised up. How it was the lost Paris Imola frontispiece? We don't know. Nobody knows. I give you another evidence. That's the first page of the third canto. You have the illumination in the upper side. After you have 3 lines telling the topic of this canto, the third one. And after you have 2 big initial. The first is a P. Per me si va nella città dolente. And this the beginning, the first line of the canto itself. The second is an I, and this is the beginning of the commentary, because maybe I told you, not maybe, I told you that a special commentary was written for this object. Okay. So after there were depredations, this is a kind of depredation. Somebody with a knife cut the miniature itself and stole away the illumination. We know that there was a depiction. You can see it, no, isn't it? But we don't have no more. Or we can say cutouts, the same history. After there were demure abrasions. all the genital parts. Of course, the damned are naked. It could be ridiculous, no? If their shadow could be with dresses, like we are. And the Middle Ages were not prude, not at all. They represented a naked man or a naked woman with the genitals. But after someone, we don't know who, with a knife, took away the painting in order to not to give the naked part of the body. Is it clear? Am I clear? And finally, blots, iconoclastic blots. Why iconoclastic blots? Because when a pious man met the representation of the devil, he, with a spit of water, with a finger, moved around. There was the image of Satan, Luciferus. Maybe you can recognize in the left part the wings, the bat wings of Satan. By the way, he has 3 faces and 3 pairs of wings. That it means 6 huge, immense wings. With them, he made a chilly wind around. But we lost because they made of the figure, of the depiction, they made a blot, a stain. Everything is clear. By the way, here is a damned, and of course, the central part of his body has been abrased. An abrasion is there. So let us see this synthesis. I made this diagram. In dark gray, you see entire folios, which we have lost. Entire folios. You can get a clear representation how many. Now you can count them. In light gray, you have entire folios, but from one of the 2 pages of the folio itself, they cut it with a knife the illumination. So you can, now you have a clear representation of how many folios we lost of this precious manuscript, and how many miniatures, how many illuminations have been stolen. Now let us see so to speak, the cause of the damages. I have to deal with, so to speak, more than with information, more than with facts, with hypotheses. In fact, the story, so to speak, the biography of this manuscript has many dark sides. Entire decades, entire centuries even, in which we don't know, we don't have any news about the manuscript itself. That's very fascinating for me. I have searched around and I made, I didn't get very great, how can I say, discoveries about the story of the manuscript, but I have some ideas about them. Now, we have only three, we know by sure only three facts, only three historical facts. 1838, in the south of France, the French Gaston de Flotte finds the Codex, the Paris-Imola Codex, in a castle of South France. He wrote an article for a newspaper of Marseille, the French, the town in the south of France, for La Gazette du Midi. The library of Marseille sent me a copy of this article. And he declared, as a passionate of Dante Alighieri, that this good news, he discovered a totally forgotten manuscript. 1848. First fact. Let us go to older fact. In the half of 17th century, the Marquis Henri de Cardaillac writes in the Codex itself a note of possession, writing, "This Codex is mine. I am Henri de Cardaillac. I got this Codex through my family, from my grandfather, because my grandfather married an Italian lady. And this Italian lady had from her grandfather the manuscript itself." Is it clear? So that's the second fact. And that's the most ancient fact itself. 1438. The humanist Guiniforte Barzizza, in the August of that year, wrote a letter to a friend of his. And he's telling, "I cannot come to you. I would like to visit you, but it's impossible because I'm handing my commentary. I'm dealing with the most wicked damned. Therefore, we can argue that it was written about the damned of the last part of the hell, of Dante's hell. We know before 1838 only these three facts. Remember. So, you remember that Filippo Maria Visconti died in 1447. 1447. So the manuscript have been made after 1438 and before 1447. Is it clear? But where was the Codex kept?
Ciao ragazze!
Are you here? Hello? Hello? I miss you. I miss you. Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. Continue.
Okay, okay. So, where? There are two likely places. One is the palace where the Visconti lived in Milan. You see now not the original palace because it was destroyed after the death of Filippo Maria. It was a republic and they destroyed the palace. That was made by Ludovico Sforza, who kept the power in Milan after the republic. So maybe it was here, or maybe here. Pavia is a lovely town, some, I don't know, 25, 30 kilometers south of Milan. And in this castle were one of the greatest library of Italy, the Libraria of Pavia. So maybe in the Castello Sforzesco, maybe in the Castello of Pavia. We don't know. What Henri de Cardillac writes in his note is that the manuscript belonged to Giovanni Caracciolo. Giovanni Caracciolo was a prince of Melfi. I will show you after a map. Melfi was a town, a small town in the kingdom of Naples. Now the question is, how and when this noble gentleman of South Italy got this manuscript of Northern Italy? I hope that you get the enigma of the situation. You must know that during all the first half of the 15th century, there were the Italian wars between France, the Kingdom of France, and the Empire of Charles V. And the field was Italy. Where is the war? There is the destruction. Where is the war? There is the looting. Someone must have kept this manuscript. We don't know who were. And this is the Le Château de la Capelle Marival, the castle where lived Henri de Cardillac, the Marquis. So we know that in 17th century and after, it was here. But what happened to it in the interim? Among the 17th century and 1838, when Gaston de Flotte found the manuscript, he tells us that it was very many folios weren't there, many illuminations weren't there, but it doesn't tell us how many. You got it? How many? Post 1838, after the 1838, the Flotte entrusts the manuscript to an exiled Italian, Giuseppe Zaccheroni, who lived in France in Marseille to edit the first edition of Barzizza's commentary, to transcribe, to interpret. Now, this Giuseppe Zaccheroni was a very bad person. He has stolen 20, at least 21 folios. And in 1866, after the Italian unity, Zaccheroni gave these 21 folios of the Codex itself to the Library of Imola. So the Codex is split in two. That's why we call it Paris Imola, in Italian Parigi Imola. But the question is, did Zaccheroni steal only 21 folios or more? Pope Hennessy, who were the director, the very cultivated and refined director of British Museum, got a part of a bigger illumination, representing only the bodies of Dante and Virgilius. So maybe he have cut other miniatures, other illuminations. We don't know how many. The end of the story. In 1887, the manuscript is sold by the Flottes heirs to the Bibliothèque Nationale de France in Paris. That's the map, okay, of the real or hypothetical trips of the Codex itself. Milano, of course, it must have been in Milano. Maybe in Pavia. I made a research. There is no evidence that was really in Pavia. After, in Melfi, North Italy, South Italy, you see Naples, Napoli. From Melfi, when Giovanni Caracciolo lost the war and his castle in Melfi, he went in France. He was a general of Franciscus I, the King of France. And Chateau de Capelle in the south of France, I show you the picture before. And I beg your pardon, Marseille down here. And finally, from Marseille, the last trip to Paris. That's all. I finish, and I hope that I was clear. And my first aim now is to be seminal. Of course, I know probably more things than you about this manuscript. I studied it, say, for a year, 8 months. So I know some things about it, but I don't know many things. Therefore, be demanding, raise to me questions, and you'll make me happy. Thank you very much. much for
Carlo,
attention.
that was splendid and very clear. But can you show us some images of the illuminations? Is it possible?
Yeah, of course, but we need time. I
Right.
mean, if you want, we will dedicate the next. I will show you just.
Because the illuminations are amazing. They are astonishing, as you say.
So let us make an agreement. I show you this image, and can you get the image?
Yes.
So we are in a forest. I will tell you very shortly, hoping that you are to make you hungry to get more news. We are in a forest. We are in the 7th circle of the hell. The 7th circle is divided in 3 parts. In the second part, there is a forest. In fact, there is no leaves in this forest. There is a special argument why must be no leaves at all. Those are dead trees. And in the trees is embodied the soul of suicides, because they despised their body, because they despised their life. They don't deserve no more to that their shadow has the form, the aspect, the appearance of the human body. You got it? They've been degraded to vegetal world. May say vegetal. Is it clear, Julia?
Yes.
Okay. And this tree is not a beautiful tree. It's not a green tree. It's a dead tree. So here, our great master made an exegetical mistake, an exegetical and philosophical mistake. But please, on the left side, you see Dante in blue dress and Virgilio with white bird in the red dress. Okay, and they're there. They were speaking with the soul of one of these trees. Beg your pardon. Suddenly they hear a loud noise. Are arriving 2 damned. You can see them. One is in the extreme right, another more or less in the center of the illumination. The first one is running as fast as he can. Why? Because there are many black bitches hunting them. The first one maybe is going to save himself for now, but is so scared that is telling loudly, accorri, accorri, morte, is wishing that the death will come and annihilate him. You got it? And the other one was not so fast as the former, and is kept by 3 bitches, and each of them is taken away a limb of his body.
The harpies, yes, from the
Okay.
Aeneid, yes.
But I don't want to say too much.
Okay, right.
I would like to receive, if you liked my talk, please be kind and raise up questions.
Right. No, it was splendid learning that history, because I have been in love with that manuscript for a very long time. I actually did have it in my hands in the Bibliothèque Nationale, and I cried because so many of the illuminations had been cut out or had been censored. It seems to have been in the hands of possibly a Jansenist, a woman who had been taught to hate her sexuality, that French form of Catholicism, which then was also prevalent in Ireland and caused such difficulty in that country as well, because it's such a beautiful manuscript. And the human bodies are shown very beautifully, but because they're souls, they are naked. And they were complete in the original versions. But whoever had that manuscript in their hands desired to censor any aspect of their genital parts. And it is a shock to see it. But at least the 21 folios that were in Imola were not censored. Isn't that the case? You've seen those pictures. I haven't.
I'm pretty sure that I will check. I can
Right.
check now.
It seems to me unlikely, Julia, because if he only sent them in 1838, and you're talking about Jansenists,
Right.
then
they
the
probably
chronology
were.
just doesn't add up.
Yes. But there are some of the images which are perfect. Let me see if I can get this. I've only got one example because I really wanted the, okay, let's see if we can move this. It might be a bit difficult. There, okay. This is where you have Virgil and Dante speaking with Ulysses and Diomed, the two flames which are from
okay.
the Thebaid by Statius. And what I love about this manuscript is the topography, these rock formations, which you get for the galleries and the bulges and the bridges, the bridgy chasms, and then this ornamentation in the background, that blue with the sort of arabesques that are going on there.
Julia, we can't see the image that you're talking about.
Okay, how do I?
Because you have to do screen share.
Okay, right, thank you. Let's see if I can.
No, never mind.
Nuova condivisione. Right.
If you want the 26, I can give you a better image.
Okay.
I have all the images.
Yes, because you will have better quality than I do.
All the audience is interested to see this,
right.
image.
Mm-hmm. So if you can, if I go back to you, metto in pausa la mia condivisione.
No, never mind, never mind. I will do everything.
Okay.
I will do. Parigi, Imola. Now. Now you can see this.
No, I can't. I can only see my own, unfortunately.
You can see my screen.
Yeah, but it's Inferno 13.
Okay. I'm not seeing it.
Allora.
Just click on view options, and if you click on view options, there are two different screens.
What do you see now?
Yours. Okay, where, because mine is in Italian. Dove trovo? Okay. Interrompi condivisione. Okay, Carlo, I'm at your screen. If you can find a larger illumination.
You want the 26, don't you?
Right, that would be lovely.
So, but what you see of my screen now? Only
I only see dismembering,
my ugly
dismembered.
face.
What I wanted to talk about was the blue and the red of Dante and Virgil, because even today the school children in Italy wear what they call a grambouille, the aprons. They're blue. They're the apprentices. And yes, now we're getting to larger. And Dante in the text is the apprentice to Virgil. He's the student. He's the learner. He's not yet proficient. Outside the text, he's in red. He's the magister. He's the professor. And that is typical of the Dante manuscripts, which are not part of Francesco da Barberino's workshop, which churned out, they said, 100 copies of the Commedia. In those manuscripts,
I beg your pardon, Julia. Please tell me what you see. Do you see another
nothing
image?
has changed. We're only seeing the last image that you showed us, Inferno 13.
We've only got the wood of the suicides.
So you don't see this image that I'm looking at?
No.
No, you have to do share screen.
Okay.
I am in sharing screen.
Okay.
But I think you have to pick, what you're doing is you're sharing the screen of your PowerPoint presentation. You need instead to share the screen of the window on your, of your computer that has the image of 26.
Thank you.
You see,
Manu.
the problem with having multiple windows or more than one app is that when you do Zoom share, you have to specify which window on your computer are you going to share.
Okay. Carlo, can you do that?
Yes, I can do that.
Ecco.
Ah, bene. Yes. Right.
Okay. So
lower it.
they are. Do you see the illumination?
No,
not fully.
Lower it. Più basso. Okay. To go back to the blue and the red, this is typical of the way it should be. But when Francesco da Barberino comes up with 100 copies, according to the legend, for his daughter's diaries, he has Dante in pink, which is the way he always does his own portraits. So he sort of subsumes into himself the figure of Dante. But this particular manuscript is late. It's later than the manuscripts I work with, but it is one of my favorites because of this extraordinary sense of the topography Dante's world that he creates, this dream vision world, where he's using rather concrete, tangible architecture.
Julia, let me interrupt you. We want to see the image.
Right.
We want to see the image of 26, please. So
yes.
Let's go there.
Carlo, can you do it?
Yes. Now you are seeing this image.
No,
Dante...
we're seeing the list.
We're seeing the list of documents on your computer.
Ah, I see. I see.
So if you can click on the one you want.
You're right. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Now I got it.
Ancora no. Okay, now it's beginning to perhaps function. That is the shift for, no, we still don't have it.
We still see only your computers, the list, Miniature Parigi Imola.
I'm sorry.
Okay, right.
Finally, I'm not as skilled as you. No, I cannot do. I'm sorry.
It won't come up. Okay.
I'm sorry. Very sorry.
Julia, do you have an image of 26? Even
well,
if
I'll
it's not
try.
as good as
if you can
Carlos?
teach me how to do it. Okay, here it is. How do I make it shareable to you? Nuova condivisione.
Yes.
Okay.
We're still seeing Carlo. So if Carlo
Okay.
stops his screen share and you begin yours, but you'll have to open the image of 26 on your computer first.
Right, I've done that.
I can see Julia's because if you click on view options, you can just click next to her name rather than Carlo's name. And then it will come up.
Oh.
Right. Can you see it?
No,
View options at the top. Click on that.
It's on the top right hand, I think.
Oh dear. It's what I see is you are viewing Carlo Illuminati's screen. So Carlo, if you can stop your screen sharing, please. Yes. Now yes. Now it says you're viewing Julia's screen. Yes. And we see the two of them looking at the flames. How marvelous.
Right. And there are many more illuminations like this, and they are all stunning. There's this wonderful one where the devils are, that particular canto centers on Luca, and they're talking about Santa Zita, who was this wonderful sort of scullery maid, who was the saint who beat the devil when the devil was trying to take away a little boy, and she saves the boy, and so on and so forth. There are wonderful jokes in that canto, and particularly the farting and so on and so forth are rather unmentionable. But in this particular one, you do see Dante in the rather later version. Those were the hats that Italian judges used to wear from the Renaissance. This is a Renaissance manuscript, not a medieval one. But it follows the text so carefully. Botticelli follows the text so carefully. And also a very early one is the Egerton manuscript in the British Library, which really understands the text. I almost think that Dante's almost supervised those illuminations, because Dante is not the way we are with our modern black and white printed books read silently. His text is so sensual, it's visual, it's oral, it appeals very much more and much more depth than our modern reading does. And I'm trying to return on the web this capacity to have the music, the oral readings, the text itself, the miniatures, to restore Dante to Dante, if that makes sense. Now, can we see all of the people? How do I get to let's see if we can do the interrompe condivisione to see all of us. Comments and questions, and our thanks to Carlo, because this manuscript.
Yes, I have questions as usual.
Yes, good.
Carlo, so we know that there must at least be 2 manuscripts with this commentary, so that the losses in Parigi Imola can be made up by the other French manuscript. Is it a coincidence that the second manuscript is also in France?
Totally coincidence.
Okay. And has it been, who has edited the second manuscript, the complete manuscript?
You mean edited?
Yes.
In a modern critical edition?
Well, in any edition, whether it's satisfactory or not.
So this Giuseppe Zaccheroni, whom I told you before, okay? He made a very, very bad editio princeps of the commentary itself.
My question was about the other manuscript. Has because the Parigi Imola is incomplete, whatever edition of the commentary must also be incomplete. But it sounds as though, from what you said, that the second manuscript with the commentary has not suffered any losses. Is that correct?
Any losses?
So has that second manuscript that is complete, has it been edited, and by whom?
So, as I told you, Giuseppe Zaccheroni received the Paris Imola manuscript by Gaston de Flotte. And because there were lost folios, he went to Paris. And even more than that, again, moreover, the writing of the other manuscript, the later manuscript, is easier to read. Okay, you got it. So he made a mixing of the commentary of the older and the newer.
Okay, so he used the newer later manuscript for the lacunae in the text of the older manuscript.
Exactly, and okay, made a very bad job. For example, because he was against the church, against the Catholic Church, many theological part of the commentary he took away.
Ah, so he suppressed. So it doesn't represent
the commentary twice with the images and the text.
A friend of mine,
yes,
a young but very how do you say, valiant philolog from Naples, did the new critical edition, mostly on the 1469, the newer manuscript, but comparing all the different, we in Italian we say
apparato critico.
In the apparato critico, so you can compare the differences, but they are quite similar. I mean, there are not when you can compare the commentary in the Paris Imola and in the Italian 1469, the newer one, there are not relevant differences.
Okay.
So,
are those the only two manuscripts that contain the commentary?
I beg your pardon?
Are there any other manuscripts besides these two to contain the commentary?
The third one, which is in Madrid, but it is not about all the cantos. We lost a huge part, and therefore I don't remember, maybe till the 16th or the 13th canto. So it's not complete. Maybe I've seen it only once in the digital library of the Great Library of Madrid. After that, there are single folios. There are 3 groups of single folios in Italian libraries.
And what is the name of your philologist friend in Naples who's done the edition?
Ruggero, my friend, Federico Ruggero.
Federico Ruggero.
Federico
Ruggero.
You should know that there is a publishing house in Italy, which is called Salerno.
Oh yes, Salerno Editrice.
Okay, Salerno is publishing all the commentaries of the Divine Comedy. And of course, Federico will publish with them.
Okay, so it's not out yet.
No, not yet, but in 1 month, 2 months, it will be published. It's finished.
And does
Federico Federico finished his job.
Right. And does this have the illuminations? Is it facsimile?
The facsimile has all exactly all the survived pages.
Right.
Illumination and without illumination.
Yes.
There is a film by Orson Welles, which was entitled F for Fake. The facsimile of this publishing house are not reproduction, are fakes. I mean, if you don't touch, and if you have in 60 centimeter, both the original manuscript and the facsimile, you cannot distinguish them. Okay? So, but this is not a critical edition, this is a critical reproduction, so to speak, of the Paris Simon.
That would be splendid having that. I found traveling to libraries and realizing that very few people could know what these texts were like. And today, with the digitalization of manuscripts, it is opening up so much more for our knowledge of them.
By the way, if I may interrupt you, Julia, may I? May I interrupt?
Yes, you're not interrupting. You are.
If you ever will come to Rome, I will accompany you in Biblioteca Angelica. They have all the facsimile, existing facsimile of the Divine Comedy.
Yes.
So I will show you.
That would be splendid, yes. And I'm hoping that we can do a proper facsimile also of my Brunetta Latino manuscripts, because this is what lies behind Dante's texts, his teachers' texts. And some of them have some very fine miniatures. The French Le Livre du Trésor has been published in facsimiles, but the Italian ones have not, except for the Tesoretto by Le Lettere, and I did the transcription for them for that. But I think
you mean the edition of Tesoretto or of Tresor?
The Tesoretto. I've now done all three: the Tesoretto, the Tesoro, and the Retorica. And I've done it as a quasi-facsimile with the digital manuscript page and the transcription beside it, testo fronte. But I've only been able to do it on a DVD. The Regione Toscana would only publish the transcriptions without the facsimile, and it's an abbreviated edition. And I would love to do the whole thing with the manuscripts which were being written when Brunetta was actually teaching Guido and Dante and Francesco in the 1280s and the 1290s. Because this is kind of the smoking pistol. And then later on, Francesco da Barberino returns from exile to Florence and sets up his publishing house. And we've got the three texts again under his editing. And they're very beautiful with miniatures and so forth by the same miniaturists who are also doing the miniatures for the Commedia. So it's the same
I have a
publishing
question
house.
for Carlo. Back to this manuscript and back to this commentator. Did you say that the commentary is only of the first cantica, only of the Inferno? It never went beyond, it didn't do cantiche 2 and 3?
Yes, but there are few textual places, segments, in which Guiniforte Barzizza, the humanist, is promising to the reader when I will speak about the purgatory, I will enlighten better this argument when I will comment the paradise. So in the intention, in the design, in the original design,
he had planned to do all three cantiche.
Intention of making the three cantica, probably because Filippo Maria died. With the death of Filippo Maria, finished the money, because you understand very well that a manuscript that, like this one, could be of an enormous, very, very expensive at the time. Now it's priceless, of course, but even the time was very, very expensive. So they had a design at the beginning, and after they didn't do all the deeds, all the deeds, many are like that.
But did he complete his commentary to all 34 canti of the Inferno?
All the 34, yes. The entire...
So Paris 1469 has the entire commentary now.
The entire commentary.
But Sitza planned to do Purgatorio and Paradiso, but never got to it.
Because he wrote within the commentary of the hell, of the Inferno.
Okay, so all we have is his commentary to the Inferno.
Yes.
And we know of his intention to continue, but that never materialized.
Yes, but it's very usual. The oldest, I don't want to bore you.
You're not boring.
Okay. Let's take the oldest commentary, probably of Jacopo di Dante, a son of Dante. Two sons of Dante, two children of Dante, wrote a commentary. Well, the older one was written by Jacopo, and is written only about the Inferno. Bambaglioli wrote in Latin a commentary only the Inferno. Maybe one of the sharpest, how do you say, exeget of Dante was a friar, Carmelita.
Guido da Pisa.
Guido. Thank you very much. I'm very satisfied that you know such a thing. It's very sharp, and very original. He dare to state things that nobody thought. So it's Guido da Pisa. It's very interesting, but even Guido da Pisa made a commentary only of the Inferno.
So who is the first commentator to do a commentary on all three cantiche?
Pietro does all three.
No.
The other
before.
son.
Jacopo della Lana. Jacopo della Lana wrote the commentary of Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradiso. After did the same Benvenuto da Imola, Il Dabuti, Pietro Alighieri, of course, others. But it was quite usual to have, we have some commentaries only of Inferno, some illuminated code, which is the plural of codex?
Codices.
Codices, okay, like Latin, which began with Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Let me represent you. Let me represent you, because I gave the commentary even of another facsimile, okay? This one is kept in Biblioteca Angelica. So you have no commentary in this manuscript, but the text of all the poetical text of the Inferno, the poetical text of Purgatory, the poetical text of Paradise, okay? No commentary, but all the lines, okay? All the cantos. Now, the scriba, the writing man, left space for the painter at the beginning of each canto. What's happened? That the painter did the 34 illumination of Inferno, 34 cantos, 34 incipit, 34 illuminations, okay? But maybe he wasn't paid no more by the Genovese, the Genoa man who ordered the commentary and ordered the manuscript. Therefore, in Purgatory, you have white space. White, you have just the frame, but no illumination. You got it?
Recording in progress.
Yes.
So maybe it's very rare to have very few manuscripts have all the 100 cantos.
Really?
Yes. And Palatino 313 is full at the beginning and then peters out. You do get the Piccarda illumination in the Purgatorio, but it just sort of dwindles because they run out of steam.
I have a question about the Angelica manuscript.
Yes, I can show you.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Do you want to see?
Yes, of course.
Just a moment.
Right. And Patricia, do you have anything you would like to say? Okay, you're muted.
I'm just filling in. I have more questions
Right.
about smaller technical things. Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Alex?
I also, am I muted? No.
No, you're not. Mm-hmm.
I was also just about to put in the text that, or in the chat, that I also have something right now, but I want to thank, where he's disappeared.
He's coming back. Look.
Professore,
Yes.
I want to thank you. I have to leave, but it was a beautiful presentation and your cognome is perfect for what you do.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
You leave me without a question. You're cruel. You're very cruel.
My period is a little later, but I thank you. It was a beautiful presentation. And I have to say, tomorrow I am getting my Harvard Library ID because the library has been closed for the pandemic. And now that they have gotten, it is so severe for anybody at Harvard because so many books and great manuscripts, they have cut out exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
I've lost great manuscripts, but thank you for the beautiful, beautiful.
Is in two columns.
Right.
And this is the first illumination, no? Dante and Virgil. And
Dante in pink.
Jesus, the lion. You see the lion.
Yes.
By the way, is the same writing, is a Gothic writing, the same of very similar to the writing of the Parisimola.
And what year is this?
Our fellow asked me to show the facsimile of the manuscript which is kept in Biblioteca Angelica.
What's the call number and what's the year? Because Patricia Vasquez wanted to know what year the Angelica manuscript is.
Is this one?
Yes. What year? What is the dating?
Now is a question. Very interesting question. Someone says that is of the beginning of the 15th century. Some others say that are in the fourth quarter of 14th century. But I can give you the evidence that some of his illumination are very, very similar to the some illumination of Parisimola. In my essay, which we'll publish in the commentary of the facsimile of Parisimola, I'm showing side by side an illumination of this Angelica 1102 with the similar illumination of Parisimola. So it's very intriguing, very intriguing. I'll tell you one thing if you want. So, by the way, you see, the writer left the space.
Can you raise it up? That's right. Now we can see. Yes. Yes.
Is the end. I beg your pardon. Here is ending, one canto. Here is the beginning. So he wrote everything after he gave the manuscript, the object, the artifact to the painter, and the painter did.
So which is the last canto in Angelica? Is it 1162, did you say? Which is the last canto to have its illumination?
It's the last canto of Inferno. Is the
okay, so he
34.
finished illuminating the Inferno and then stopped.
Yeah, exactly, as I told you before.
Okay.
No? Here.
Yes.
And can you show us 426? It's a shame that it's only one illumination per entire canto, but
26.
26.
Okay.
And Phil, do you have a question from Iceland?
Yeah, actually, I have two questions, but I can see this first.
Thank you.
Yes.
Which is your name? I'm curious to know your name.
Who me?
Broughton.
Yeah.
Oh, Manu Radhakrishnan.
Manu.
Mm-hmm.
So you got it.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes.
And Dr. Illuminati, thank you very much for your talk, first of all. And I just had a couple of small questions, or maybe not small, but I was wondering, first of all, about the relationship between Zaccaroni and de Flot, and why did de Flot entrust the manuscript to Zaccaroni? And second of all, I was wondering if there's any rhyme or reason to the scenes that were cut out of the manuscript. Were they cut out randomly, or is there any sort of thematic similarity between the scenes that were clipped out?
I didn't understand the second question. I understood the first one, but
okay. The second one was in the scenes that were cut out of the manuscript.
Clipped.
Yeah, you said they were
Okay. Cut away.
Yeah, cut away. If there was any rhyme or reason to why they were cut.
Okay.
Or if that's just random or.
So I can answer you clearly and with facts about the first question.
Okay.
But I cannot answer you with evidences to the second questions.
Okay.
I will tell you why. So Zaccheroni was a Republican, an Italian Republican. Maybe you have heard about Mazzini. Okay, so he was a patriot and he had to run away from Italy because the prosecution of the police. Imola is in a town near Bologna, in the east of Bologna, okay? And he left, he was in Marseille, the same town of the Flotte. The Flotte was a nobleman and was illiterate. He wrote a book about Dante, so he was passionate. How they met in Marseille, I don't know. But probably there were houses and, how can I say, where intellectuals, literates were meeting together and speaking about. You got it?
Yeah.
They met some way. And it's logical that because the Flotte was so passionate, so in love with Dante and with the Divine Comedy, and probably he was allured, you got it, allured by Zaccheroni. But Zaccheroni was I am a very bad opinion about Zaccheroni.
That's why I wondered why the Flotte entrusted it.
He became a senator of the Kingdom of Italy after. A senator. Senator, I beg your pardon. A senator. So the Flotte thought that he wasn't able to make an edition of the commentary of Zaccheroni, and thought that Zaccheroni was able, the commentary, I beg your pardon, by Barzizza. And he got the illusion. He was seduced by Zaccheroni, I do believe, who told, yes, I am, probably told I am able, I'm Italian. But wasn't true. Yes, Zaccheroni has had no, how can I say, any skill, philological skill, any. I gave you an evidence. We have the 21 folios in Imola, okay? Now, when we had to make the publication, we had to put in the right order the Imola's folios into the 381 Paris folios. It's okay. Who did the first job? I.
Yes.
Okay. In 3 weeks, in February 2020, I discovered the right order because he put these 21 folios, he cut the 21 folios, and he put in the book of the edition of the commentary he made, okay? And he gave to the library without telling, I have stolen these 21 folios. now, at the end of my life, I want to give back. No, he didn't tell. He just gave the book. So nobody knew that were 13 illuminations, other illumination. Nobody knows. You got it?
Yes.
He was really very, very fraudulent man. In his soul was deeply fraudulent man. This wicked, how can I say, impostor? How do you say impostore?
Sí, imposter. Mm-hmm.
So that's the first question. But let me say, he gave an order, and it's ridiculous. The order of these folios, it's ridiculous. To anybody who have a minimal knowledge of Inferno, you recognize directly where we are in this illumination. He put the illumination of the 22, the beginning of 22 canto. He put after the 3rd canto. So it's ridiculous, simply ridiculous.
But were the 21 folios bound together out of order? Were they bound together out of order?
Bound together in a book. He took an edition. He took an edition of his book, and he cut the folios of the manuscript to reduce the size. Okay, and he put into the book.
Erano anche in disordine.
Incredible.
Anche qui. Mm-hmm.
So I made the job, but after I understood that there were more folios which fall down. So I said, look, to the committee, scientific committee, I did the job, but I'm not a philologist. Please, we must call a philologist which will see will see my job if I made any mistake, okay? And who will see if how many folios are fall down? Okay. After I have discovered that a French scholar in the end of 19th century understood almost all the folios which fall down.
Right.
So,
we are now.
Second question, why? Why? Because the beauty. My answer is this one. The beauty is tempting. The beauty is tempting. And in a certain sense, you want to make violence to the beauty. It's like with a beautiful girl. You get it? It's not only a question of desire. I try to enter in the mind of someone who is violating a beautiful girl. Probably it's not only a question of sexual desire. It's also a question of envy. It's also a question of destroying. So the beauty of this manuscript, that is my hypothesis,
yes,
my impression, I cannot prove it. The beauty of this manuscript was the maledizione.
Yes,
How do you-
it's curse. That was why I was crying over that manuscript in the Bibliothèque Nationale to see. You're right, it was violated. We are at 9:30 now. Who is iPhone CLA? Would you like to make a comment, unmute yourself and add into the conversation or not?
Please.
You are very welcome to make a comment if you would like to.
iPhone CLA.
Yes, we're asking if you would like to make a comment. Chiedi di attivare audio. Perhaps that person wants to be silent. We do thank you.
Make me more questions because I'm getting warmer.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
I came in a little late because I had class earlier, but so this Angelica manuscript, is this in Rome or in Paris or
it's in Rome.
Where exactly? It's in Rome.
No. Which one? This one?
The Angelica is in Rome, yes.
And then that one is where? Where can we see that one that you held up?
The Paris Imola is in
when
Paris and
when
in
you come
Imola.
to Rome, I will bring you there. You will see the manuscript.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm coming.
Right. Yes, Patricia
E
is
noi
a very
potremo
good
vederci
Dante
perché io sto a
scholar.
Why don't you
Trastevere.
come, all of you come to Rome.
Thank you. Right.
And
We
I
shall
will
love
bring
that.
you there. You will see the manuscript. I will beg the director to show us the manuscript. We have the right, finally, and to put together all the facsimile, as I did with my Canadian students. I put all because the interesting thing, which is to put together the illumination of the third canto and 10 facsimile, 20, 30 facsimile. How did they represent?
Yes.
My main topic is Bessarion. And Dr. Bolton knows
it was a wonderful paper you gave in Ravenna.
So I wrote a book about 300 pages about this, which is the monster, the symbolic monster of fraud, and is a total invention of Dante Alighieri. Bessarion in Greek-Roman mythology is a character of third place. Dante kept the name and imagined a totally different.
Right. It's an Etruscan chimera.
It's very complicated.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is that almost all the manuscripts of 14th century did represented Bessarion with a girl face.
Yes.
With a girl face.
Right. And also Francesco de Barberino in Documented Amore has this monster like Bessarion, who is female. It figures Florence, who has nurtured him and then exiled him. So you get Francesco shooting arrows at this monster after having been under his paws and destroyed by him.
Send it to me. Send it to me. So if you organize yourself, I don't know where do you live, in Italy or where?
Phil is in Iceland. Manu travels all over the world.
Io sono a Trastevere a questo punto.
Patricia, where are you now? In New Mexico?
Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City.
Vegas, Nevada.
Inferno.
Right.
Inferno.
Where?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yes.
Sin City.
And the other two, one is in Boston and the other is in Connecticut. So
I've
we're
been in
quite
Boston.
far-flung.
I've been in Boston in
Yes.
an MLA convention. Okay, but please make me other question, because now you gave me energy.
Right.
And
I'm not sure that my computer will be able to
give back
record
my
all.
energy, otherwise I will not sleep tonight.
Okay, I have a
Please take
question.
the
I have-
responsibility.
I have a question.
I'm joking. I
was,
like to joke.
I was reading a book about Gerioni where they were talking about the similarities that he has with the wildcat in the first canto. And in the very first canto, Dante even thinks about lassoing the wildcat, and then he does the same thing with Gerioni, right?
Mhm.
And he even talks about Gerioni being spotted. Can you speak at all, since you know more about Gerioni than I do, about the possible connection between the wildcat and Gerioni?
The wildcat, you mean the lonza?
La Lonza.
La Lonza, huh?
Okay, I didn't know this word. No, listen. The question is that the lonza is la pelle dipinta.
Mhm.
And Gerioni is dipinta.
Yes.
That's very intriguing, very intriguing.
And even those three animals
intriguing
in the
question.
beginning,
Now,
the verb is singular instead of plural. They are all coalescing into
so
Gerion.
I'm keeping the
wolf, the
inferno.
lion.
Oh, interesting. I've never put that together. The Gideon is maybe a kind of amalgam of the three beasts?
Yes. Mhm.
Just a moment. So he spoke about 3 or 4 times about the lonza.
Mhm.
And in the first canto, he says at the first,
Una lonza leggera e presta molto, che di pel macolato era coperta.
yes, that's the point. Macolato. What does it mean, macolato?
Spotted.
Stained
Mhm.
with macule. Macula in Latin is macchia in Italian. And the macchia is a stain. Okay. I don't know the difference between stain and blot in English.
Mhm.
But is stained hairs. Pale maculato means stained hairs. Okay. After he say gaetta pelle,
Mhm.
la fiera alla gaetta pelle,
Mhm.
and probably gaetta from the Provençal means multicolor, which is very different from stained.
Mhm.
Very different. Please take it. When a beautiful dress of ours gets stained, we have spent thousands for the dress, and that now there is a stain here. We are very worried. Why? Because the stain is ugly. The stain has no form. The stain is an insult to the original color. Is a violating of the original color, of the luminescent color. True or not?
Okay.
So if you tell me dipinta pelle and pel maculato, you are putting, from my point of view, a certain contradiction, a certain antithesis. Okay. In the 16th canto, Virgil, they are at the end, at the border of the 7th circle. And they must move in a baratro. How do you say? Abyss.
Abyss.
Yeah, abyss. They cannot jump because Dante could die. They cannot fly.
Doesn't he talk about him flying kind of like a falcon, as I
Yes.
recall, kind of gliding?
With Bessarion, yes.
Okay.
On the back of Bessarion.
Yes.
On the back of Bessarion.
With the
exactly.
scorpion tail. And Virgil's only a
Bessarion,
shade, so
Bessarion,
he's not
who
really
has
protected.
no wing. Bessarion has no wing. No wing.
He
Now,
retracts his
Bessarion
claws.
is not there. Bessarion is not there. How to call Bessarion from the abyss?
With the cord.
Dante gave a rope, a lasso, in the hand of Virgil.
Would we be able to say a leash?
Use the lasso to keep his vest.
It's his Franciscan belt
Cord?
because he's a tertiary.
We don't know.
But
We don't know if it's Franciscan.
Oh.
No, we don't know.
But does he use it as a leash? Like, you know, to
No,
lasso?
He throws it down
He
as
just
a message.
throw away Virgil, and even here there is a splendid, enlightening miniature by in Paris Imola, because you see Virgil in this position, no, to make a good
Throw.
how can I say lancio in Italian is lancio, I don't know in English.
Launch.
Okay. So in that point, Dante says, I had a rope with whom I wanted once to capture the beast with the pelle dipinta, with the painted skin.
La lonza.
Yes.
Alonso.
Right.
So you see, macolata pelle, gaetta pelle, pelle dipinta. Dante is changing and making enigmas to us. But there is not a simile, no simile between the Lonza and Bessarion.
So Giuseppe Leda argues that it's actually proof. Mark Musa says too that by treating Bessarion as he does the Lonza, that it's a way of confirming that the Lonza represents fraud, that we have entered fraud.
That's the opinion of the great Dantean scholar of the Dantean philosophy, Nardi.
Nardi.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't agree. Nardi is quoting Aristotle. I'm writing it in my book. I'm boring you. Am I boring you?
No.
So now
You talk about Dante all day long. It's okay.
so Aristotle in the Ethica Nicomachea in 7th book is badly quoting Homerus' Iliad. That's normal. The ancient were quoting always by
Memory.
memory.
Sometimes they get it wrong.
They didn't give the book, no? So they didn't give.
A footnote.
So
Yeah.
I'm quoting exactly.
Right.
here.
It wasn't an exact quote.
No, never. Just by memory.
Right.
And he gave a bad quotation, not complete.
Right.
So it's a very interesting episode of the 7th or 8th book of Iliad. The Trojans are going to win.
Mhm.
The Trojans are near to the Greek camp. Zeus, Jupiter, don't want to the other gods to enter in the battle. So what Hera, Juno, is thinking about? She think a fraud. She go to Venus. Venus had a belt for the breast, a multicolored belt, okay? And Juno tells a story, a lie to Venus. Please, I want to be beautiful tonight. Give me for a while your breast, multicolored belt. Juno gave, Venus naively gave to her. Juno goes to her husband with the belt, tempted him, allured him, they make love, and after sex, Zeus fall asleep. Now, Aristotle says, you see, Venus is cheating. No, not Venus is cheating. Juno is cheating. You got it? So Aristotle made a mistake, and Nardi gave as evidence of the luxury, like a cheating vice, gave a fake evidence. I don't know if my English is
Yes, it
bad.
makes sense. Yes. No, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following you.
So, in my opinion, you cannot compare the alluring of the luxury of the Lonza, of the wild cat, with the multicolored body of Gideon.
Oh,
Hi, give me 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Right.
You want me to hang up?
Yes. Okay, because it'll be hard to record all of this. It's been 2 hours, and it has
Okay.
been 2 hours of wonderful explanations. And thank you very, very much. Any
Thank you so
final
much,
comments?
Professor.
Yes.
May I end just a concept? Gideon is a 3-part monster. 3-part monster.
Mhm.
He has the face of a honest man, of a just man,
Mhm.
the hypocrisy. He has the
Hypocrite.
multicolored body, and after he has the, how do you say,
The scorpion tail, the sting.
scorpion tail. Is it clear to everybody what does it mean, the face, the just face, hypocrisy? Is it clear, the scorpion tail?
Yes.
But what is the meaning of this multicolored body?
Mhm. It's
It's
a
the
bit like,
temptation.
yes.
In my opinion, it's the temptation.
Right. Mhm.
So that's why they cannot be stained body,
Mhm.
stained skin,
Yes.
because stains are not tempting, are not beautiful.
Mhm. Right.
I beg
Thank
your
you,
pardon.
all of you. Thank you very, very much. And Patricia has a message in the chat thanking Professor Illuminati. And
Thanks
so
to you.
now we can say good night, and we end our
And I
academic
look forward to seeing you in
Bessarion
Rome.
Yes, right.
So you will tell me if you want a second talk about the illumination.
Right.
Yes, all day, every day.
Yes, with
You will
more
tell.
images, with more
Bye
images.
bye. I go to eat.
Okay,
You made me hungry.
right, right.
Bye
And
bye.
remember,
Thank you.
you also
Thank
have to
you.
do it in Italian. We do a different recording in Italian for the Italian dentisti. Okay?
Okay.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Buonanotte, sonni d'oro
Buonanotte.
tutti. Sì.
Goodbye.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.